everybody. What is up? How's it going? Happy Friday. Welcome
Happy
to
Friday.
I know. Welcome to History Drink Repeat, you guys. We're so happy to be here. We've been trying to jazz ourselves up.
I've been super jazzed, by the way.
Sorry, John made me take a shot to jazz me up.
Which was a great idea. I think that was an amazing idea. Because
Thank
I was
you.
told I wasn't allowed to drink anything for the first part of the segment.
I told you you could
So,
drink
you know.
whatever you want. I just won't be prompting you to
Uh-huh.
drink
Not
in
how
the
it
first part.
works. Not how it works.
I was like, babe, if you want a drink to sip on while we're, perusing through the beginning of this history segment, you are so welcome.
I mean, yeah, it's true, but yeah, I got my drink in. But I'm excited for tonight because although all these other topics of history have been good, I feel very connected to the topic you're going to be talking about tonight. I don't know why.
Well, okay, we've talked about this. Oh, okay, real quick, you guys. So I'm Piva Colada, aka I'm Janelle. Since we're doing the history things, I think real names are okay. And then we have here.
I'm Jonathan Colada. And jealous 000.
You're ridiculous. Well, okay, if you guys don't remember, John here, he tends, every time we do a history drink repeat, he's usually drinking whiskey, either as is or mixing it with his Coke Zero or Diet Coke. I don't know what you mix, one of
Or
those.
just straight up sometimes.
Oh,
you know?
you do?
Coke Zero, it would be Coke Zero.
I was gonna say, I didn't know when you do mix it, when you drink it straight up and then you mix. So I was just like, what do you do? Can't fully remember.
I do want to, before we get started, I do want to see who's drinking with us tonight.
I know.
I hope you have a glass prepared.
We have our
I
glasses
prepared
prepared.
my glass. And if you want to be really fancy, get a little water as well, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to do some whiskey tasting tonight.
Yeah, we're excited. So I did post, if you guys were curious, what we will be tasting tonight. We're only gonna be doing 4. There's so much we could have. I was like, had to limit ourselves. Well, limit me, honestly. We do have exclamation point tasting. It should be in the command to help you guys see what we're gonna be drinking tonight. So we will be doing, I got these baby bottles. Because cost effective. So we're gonna be doing Bushmills Irish whiskey. We're gonna be doing a nice single malt Scotch. We're gonna do Glenlivet's 12. I decided to get the Knob Creek straight white rye whiskey. If you guys don't know, this is actually some Jim Beam.
Because who doesn't like to suck on a knob?
It's nice, yes. And then we're gonna be doing Bulleit Bourbon Kentucky whiskey. So these are the ones I chose. Again, there's so much out there, right, to choose from. But this was like nice. It also will go along with what I'm saying. So,
and not too fancy, because then no one would know what we were drinking.
No, it's
And
not
you
too
can
fancy.
try
I
it
think
and you'd all be
Glenlivet's
jealous.
12 and Knob Creek. Well, Knob Creek's known as like a high-ish ender, whatever. But
Yeah,
you know,
they're all good. They're all great
Bulleit's
whiskey.
like a popular whiskey. Bushmills is a classic whiskey. So I mean, So we have a variety here. Some old, some new. So all that good stuff.
Where's your something bar and something blue? We're ready to get married.
I know I'm all red. You're in red too. I love it. I love that we didn't even coordinate. So.
That's not true. I was stalking you outside.
Oh, is that
the
what
window.
you were doing?
Oh, she's wearing red tonight. God.
I'm gonna wear red as well. All right, you guys. We have so much to talk about. I decided to take on this insane task of talking about, the history of whiskey. Hopefully, I have brought it down to 6 pages. I'm proud of the 6 pages. So. we will get through this. And also it's gonna be a little bit longer because John and I will be doing tastings, and we're gonna talk about like notes and what we taste, like what's the palate, what's the flavor, what's the finish. So we're gonna kind of also bring in this other variant that we haven't been doing, right? So it's kind of a cute, fun thing. When we did the history of vaudeville, we had videos, which was a really fun, something different. So this one's a little different because we're gonna be doing tastings, so something a little bit more interactive. And so if you guys if you have any of these styles of whiskeys in your house, we actually in my house had 2 of these, so already in big bottle. I didn't even need to buy them, but it's okay. All right, so let's talk about this. Let's get going, I guess, John, because they're going to be
I'm ready.
being ridiculous the whole time. He's like, I also want to drink my first whiskey. Okay,
If they're lined up in front of me right now.
I have
so
mine lined up too. They're beautifully lined up. So let's start. So what is whiskey, right? I mean, I feel like you guys would know what it is since you're all here, but just in case you don't know what whiskey is, It is a dark distilled spirit, so an alcohol, so spirit is alcohol, that is made from a variety of grains such as barley, corn, rye, and wheat. It's distilled throughout the entire world, but the most popular places are Ireland, Scotland, the United States, Canada, and Japan. So those are the most, but it's actually distilled everywhere. Even India has its own. So due to the different grains and where it's produced, there are various styles of whiskey, which is something we're going to be going over. So whether it's Irish whiskey, Scotch, bourbon, or even Canadian whiskey, it is the most popular liquor in the world. Isn't that crazy? So fun fact, by the way. So did you know that India consumes the most whiskey out of any country?
It's cheating.
I didn't know.
They
It's
have
because
a
they
lot
have
of
so many people.
there.
But still, like, okay, so I actually have a stat here. So in 2014, so this is where I got this statistic, is a 2014 stat. They consumed 1.5 billion liters of whiskey. In America that year, we only consumed 462 million. So they're like triple.
Wow.
According to the research notes from Bank of America Merrill Lynch. But population density though, yeah, no, it's true. I mean, India has a ton of people, but the idea that they love whiskey, it's like, oh, you know, you think about, I mean, vodka is actually going to give whiskey a run for its money in the United States in the later 20th century, but whiskey is still around the world is going to be the most popular. So, which is fascinating. So where did the term whiskey, like, where do we get this word? So I got a fun word for us, you guys. It's Gaelic. So the term whiskey derives originally from this word that's Gaelic. And you guys ready for me to try to say it? It's a different language, so it's, you know. Okay, I definitely listened to someone saying it over and over again to try instead of just like trying really quickly. It's a ushkaba. I think it's how you say it.
Ushkaba.
Baha. Ushkabaha. I think that's how. No, I think I'm missing a syllable.
Ushkabaha.
I think that's how it. I could be butchering it naturally.
No, I think it's right.
Ushka. I think it's ush. It's like I think this like is like ushka.
Ushkabatha.
Baha, actually, the way how it blends. So I think it's ushka baha, meaning it means the water of life. So I think this is like water, and this is life.
Well, I think how you're pronouncing it will work because as you drink more of it, it becomes more right.
The more I say it, I just start saying whiskey instead. So yeah. So there's actually a Latin version of this word as well. It's aqua vitae. I believe that's how you say that. So in Latin, it's aqua vitae. So that's water of life. And then in Gaelic, it's ushka baha. I might be messing that one. This was fascinating. This is actually not Irish. This is Scottish Gaelic. So Irish Gaelic, they would say it's made with a C. So instead of a G, it's a C. So it's uska baha. And then Scottish Gaelic is usga, I think, or something like that. Yeah, I was really trying, you guys. I really was for you. I promise. So that's what I got. So spirits and whiskey are fairly new within history of alcoholic beverages. Beer and wine have been around for centuries. We talked about that when we talked about the history of British pubs. I gave you guys a little bit of background on beer, but they've been around forever because of just the process of fermentation is something that can naturally happen or accidentally happen, so that's been around. But spirits really only came about in the last millennia, so in the last 1,000 years. So that's because spirits are created using the two-step process. So first fermentation and then distillation. So distilling fermented beverages really pops its head out on the timeline around 1,500 years ago. So fermentation can happen by accident, like I stated, but distilling requires very specific instructions, which is why we only got distilling through science, and specifically alchemy. Fascinating.
Alchemy? Magic.
Yeah, chemistry, alchemy, alchemists, I love this. So yeah, let me get to this. Hold on. Just a side note, before we continue with the history portion of this, and I kind of said this in the beginning, a lot of early history about distillation and even the origins of whiskey are a little bit murky. So, but I did my best trying to research all these different articles. I even have a book on the history of beverages, just piecing it together to see what the commonalities were to give that kind of information to you guys. So I'm do my best to give you the facts, to provide you with the information I have found from multiple sources. So again, some of these are argued, just to let you guys know. So, but here we go. So the art, I want to start first with the art of distillation. I think this really plays into how whiskey comes about, right? So spirits and specifically whiskey. So we're going to talk about that, and then we'll get into the history of whiskey itself. So the art of distillation can arguably be founded in ancient Mesopotamia around 2000 BCE. So ancient times, right? And then it slowly is going to evolve throughout the medieval period. So later. Starting off as creating like things like perfumes and even like turning seawater into fresh water, so making water drinkable. The first real documentation of distilling fermented beverages came from an Arabic alchemist. I actually have a beautiful picture of him.
They created
here.
so many good things.
So many good things. Oh yeah. So this gentleman is Al-Jabir. Abu. So his name is Al-Jabir. That's what they go by short, but I think it's how do you say it? It's Abu Musa Jabir. But he's known as the father of Arabic chemistry.
And also friends to Aladdin, right?
Oh my god, terrible. But around 800 CE. So many, so we're more in the getting into the modern era. So known simply as either, sometimes he's known, if you look at different scholarly works, as Gerber, I think is how they say it, or it looks like Gerber, but I don't know how they got that. Or Al-Jabir by scholarly Latin communities. He is acknowledged as being the first to design and implement what is known as the common pot still. So you'll know like things are in their whiskey's brewed in pot still. So this is where he's the one who invented this design. Today the pot still remains as an essential tool for producing premium spirits and other chemical compounds. So I actually have a really interesting honorable mention because I'm all about throwing in some fun women history and also minority history whenever possible. So here's an honorable mention. Here we have, so to give a shout out to the ladies, we have Maria. Her name is Maria, or sometimes known as Mary the Jewess. Mary the Jewess, yeah, they think she's around 1 to the 3rd century she was alive, CE, but she was known as the first known alchemist in Western history, which is kind of fascinating that it was, we had a green blip. I don't know what just happened.
You're good.
So, we'll see. My computer's been funky recently. Okay. She did a lot, but she also she developed what is known as it's called a tribocas? Tribocas. I believe. It's a 3-armed pot still. So her story became something of a legend in later Arabic and Christian writings. So she's a pretty rad lady to have also contributed to this pot chamber, right? This distilling kind of process, which I thought was...
I wanted to respect her, but I heard she was a drunk. So
no, okay, what's really fascinating, Al-Jabir and Maria, when they were doing this kind of when they were just distilling, when they distilled fermented beverages, they weren't drinking it. They didn't think of it that way. They were just messing around. That's what I read anyway. This was Maria's 3-armed pot. Well, it doesn't look like 3-armed, but this was kind of a thing that I found under her name. I thought that was kind of interesting, but you can see like how the idea, if you guys know what distillation, right? It's they boil water, becomes vapor, and it goes into a different chamber and it becomes liquid again. So if you guys didn't know the process of distilling, that's kind of the simplistic way you could explain it, right?
No, it's 100% right. Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
So this kind of gives you an idea. So it's the boiling in one pot, it vapors through the funnel into the next chamber.
Through the funnel. As it goes through the funnel, it loses heat.
Correct.
Then it will start sticking onto the surface, and then it turns back into water.
Fascinating.
And then if you do that again and keep refining it, more liquor.
Well, yeah, it gets crazy. So that's kind of a little bit about like where these like types of these pot stills come from. So as time goes on, the Italians in the 12th century now continued. Basically, they took this like distillation of alcohol, this alcohol process, and they learned it actually from books written in Arabic. So they found it in books, and they were like, let's do this, let's try this out. And so Italians had wine. So what they did, they experimented with distilling wine and found that lighting alcoholic liquid, what happens when you light it, it does a combustion, right? So alcohol is flammable. And when they realized what would happen is that the alcohol content would skyrocket. So we kind of talked about this the other day, John, when we were talking about this a little bit. So wine, as we know it, especially wine at the time, when you just ferment it, it usually can cap at like 18%, but wine's usually around a 12-14%er. But when they decided to do this process, it actually jacked it up to more like 40 to 50%, which is like 100% proof, which is crazy, 90 to 100% proof. it's like the idea that the alcohol content could
Wild.
just shoot up like that. So these experiments led to the production of fortified wine, if you guys have ever heard of fortified wine, or even what will later become burnt wine and what we now call brandy. I don't know if you guys, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
So now come back into later, by the way. So they also discussed the results of drinking the liquid, which I like this. So I read this in a book. So they wrote down all their experiments and like what was happening when they would do that. And one of the things that they said, this really explained how it felt when drinking whiskey. And I wanted to reiterate to you guys, this made me laugh. So this is what they said. At first, it creates a burning feeling in the esophagus. Yes, for me it does, you guys. And then the stomach. And then some degree of discomfort. But then it is followed by a pleasant, light sensation. So naturally, the first thing they decide to do with it is use it for medical purposes, of course. You know, oh, it burns, it makes you feel a little uncomfortable, but then it's followed by niceness. So
Yeah.
it's medicine. It's medicine, right? So that's what they're gonna do. That's what's gonna be used as is first. So it is spread throughout medieval monasteries to treat colic and palsy and smallpox, actually, which I thought was fascinating. Later on, like I think in the 1400s or 1500s, I'm trying to remember specifically, there was this chemist and his students. They actually speculated that drinking a spoonful of alcoholic drink every morning could prolong your life to the rare age of 70.
So rare.
So rare. So isn't that crazy? Hey, Jazz, what's up, boo? I like that. Even today, you hear that. Like, if you drink a glass of red wine a day, it will prolong your life, right? Or, like, you hear these stories. And that's been around. Like, they're like, if you do, like, this one's a spoonful. Obviously, it's not a lot. But also, it was very different at the time. You know, like, alcoholic was very much, when you take something straight out, like, doesn't sit in a casket and develop. It's just straight liquor. It's very harsh. It burns. I would think a spoonful is probably good, or you're gonna go blind, right? So okay, so now whiskey. I wanted to give you guys that little thing about the distillation and where it came from and how it started to spread a bit around Europe. So now here we go. All right, we're moving along. So the origin of whiskey, from what I can tell, began around 13 to 1400 CE, when distillation made the migration from mainland Europe into Scotland and Ireland via mainly traveling monks, and also some written scriptures and stuff like that. So the Scottish and Irish monasteries, lacking the vineyards and grapes of the continent, turned to ferment grain mash instead, so resulting in the first distillation of modern whiskey. Cool stuff, right, you guys?
Awesome.
So I have this really fascinating one. This is my picture. I love this picture of this monk here.
Ooh.
So this is actually the earliest, this is what I found, the earliest known mention of whiskey comes from Ireland in 1405, and something called the Annals of, I'm going to butcher this, I tried to find the pronunciation of it. It's called the Annals of Clonmacnoise? I don't know. That's me trying to do it phonetically. Where it describes the death of an Irish chieftain from taking a surfeit of aqua vitae. So basically at Christmas. So drinking a ton of whiskey pretty fast.
Yeah, alcohol poisoning and killed himself? That's amazing.
He did. So in other words, he drank himself to death. So that's the earliest mention of whiskey, is someone drinking too much of it and dying. It's not very good. Like, as in this way, right? Someone enjoying it and then drinking it. So I wanted to share that with you guys. In Scotland, in Scotland, the first evidence of whiskey production comes from the entry in what's known as the Ixchira rolls. Oh, butchering things once again. Around 1494, where malt is sent to this gentleman, to a friar. So I like this, it's in quotations because it's a direct quote. To Friar John Core by the order of King James IV of Scotland to make aqua vitae. So the King James
sent Friar. He's like, make me some alcohol.
Yeah, so they knew that in the monasteries they were making whiskey, so aqua vitae, and he liked it. So he actually ordered for them to make 500 bottles of it. Wow. I know. It's like he loved it. He went to this small town and he brought it back to like mainland Scotland. Like and then it kind of started to become more popular because the king liked it so much.
The king was drinking it.
So the king was drinking it. It became more popular. And so King James loved the drink and licensed its production to several local monasteries and guilds. He had his favorites as well. So it's pretty fascinating stuff. However, things are going to start to change in the mid 1500s. So this is where it's going to actually become more privatized. So in the mid 1500s, King Henry VIII, right? We talked about him a little bit at one point, of England, he breaks away from the Catholic Church. So he wages a war against Catholic Scotland. I actually have a photo for this one. And closed and destroyed Catholic monasteries in England and Scotland, making a large number of monks independent and looking for new ways to make a living.
Wait, did he destroy the alcohol?
Well, he destroyed the monasteries and where they were
where
making,
the alcohol was stored.
where they were making it.
Poor person.
So they kind of
That's a good reason to go to war.
So they stuck to what they knew when they were out of like they weren't in their monasteries anymore. They're like, how can we make a living? So they started to distill privately. So they become the private producers of whiskey. Isn't that cool? So I love, because like you learn so much about the monks making wine and making beer. Like, you know, it's
they make, honestly, some of those traditions they've kept.
It's
and
amazing.
they make some amazing stuff. Yeah,
they really do. Some of the good stuff that come out of it, right? It's like awesome. Yeah. So the distillation production methods and even the resulting products among the population of Scotland, this is going to be the basis for Scottish distilleries even to this day. So the way they made Scottish whiskey and everything like that is very still common, and they loved it. The Scottish people loved it. Right? They drink it. It's like their jam. So a similar development occurred in Ireland as well, and a well-known Bushmills distillery in Northern Ireland received a license. Yeah, so we're going to be doing Bushmills. So a similar development occurred in Ireland, and the well-known Bushmills distillery received a license to produce whiskey in 1608.
Wow.
Is that crazy?
So is this the oldest, like, still operating distillery-ish brand today?
So actually, Bushmills is the oldest distillery that continues to operate to this day. Isn't that crazy cool? I know. So now, you guys, we're actually going to taste Bushmills Irish whiskey. So we're going to pour these.
All right. As you pour, go ahead and pour.
You just.
So there's a proper way to drink whiskey that is not chilled. Okay, so you have your whiskey and it goes into the glass. Right, so once it's in the glass, you know, you're going to want to sip it. Part of the whiskey profile actually has oils. So once it's sitting in a glass, there are oils on top of the glass. So if you take just kind of like 3 little drops of water.
Like as in like if you dip your finger and drop, you have like,
you can do it that way. I have a little, like, if you drop a little water on top, it will actually break up the oils on the surface. Breaks up the surface tension of the oils.
I wish I could show you guys.
See it happening.
I know, I can't.
And what that will do is the oils are what contain what
you guys can see.
The tannin. You know, the kind of slightly more bitter. Some people like that, so some people don't want to break it up. It will break it up, and it will slightly sweeten up and bring out the aroma and also the flavor of your whiskey.
So like that's why when people add a little bit of water to their whiskeys.
Why you add a little water? If you really don't want to water it down, although I always put ice in my whiskey. Yeah, you don't want to water it down to really taste it. So just like wine, you know, you smell it. You can smell the deliciousness.
I love it. So I love that, John. Thank you so much. So basically the last 400 years, Bushmills Distillery has continued to use only 100% malt barley, triple distilled in copper pot stills. So they have the same same tradition they've always done. So it's great. So it's actually Bushmills has always played fiddle. Like the one that you always know is Jameson. So Bushmills actually plays second fiddle to Jameson. But in terms of volume, through the United States has been a significant market for some time. So the appearance, as you guys can see, is more thin, kind of like a pale hay, like they say pale winter hay, which that was kind of interesting. I like it. I know we got to do the put your hand out. Oh, there it is. It focused. So it says to the nose. What do you get, John?
I'm getting notes of alcohol and
it burns your nose hairs. No, actually this isn't bad. It's supposed to be like a Riesling sweet, they say. It's supposed to have. And I actually can agree with that.
It's funny. Are these stored in oak barrels? Do you know what type of barrels these are stored in? No?
I do know. Yeah, it's American oak barrels now. I don't know what it was in the beginning.
You can smell the oak.
Yeah.
Off of it, and
By the way, you guys, if you didn't already know this, you probably do, but it's a fun little fact. When whiskey is created, when it first comes out of the distillation process, it's clear, and how it gets its color is through the barrels that it ages in. So if you guys didn't know that, it's actually a clear liquid that then becomes colored by. That's why it does different types of barrels. Like you have the oak barrels, sherry barrels, brandy barrels. Like there's all these different types of things, right? So okay.
And, yeah.
And it also has cuts of herbs and blossom. It's aromatic. That's the beautiful words they have for this.
So after you triple distilled something, do you know how you make it more alcoholic?
How?
So you make it more alcoholic by just letting it sit.
I was saying because it would just develop over time. When the fermentation would just keep going. Oh,
exactly. So so the way it develops, right? The way it develops in a barrel.
This is really good, actually.
Yeah. Just like how you have a fast evaporation process to distill, the same thing is happening in a whiskey bottle. In a whiskey barrel. Yeah. It is slowly evaporating over time. So actually, after you check it a year, 3 years, 4 years later, you will have lost some whiskey. It will have evaporated. And that is called the devil's cut.
The devil's cut. I love that. Yes. Thank you for these tidbits. Yeah. You're bringing it back to me. I'll have more
as we continue going on.
I've never done like a whiskey tour or anything like that. There's so much about whiskey that I don't know. So of course I'm try to stick to the history as much as possible. So I love that you have the tidbits. I realized for this whiskey, I didn't mention, I don't know, I didn't look it up, but I have for other ones how long they're in barrels. And this one I don't know. So I apologize. For the other ones, I do have that kind of information. I just missed it. So the palate's supposed to be fruity, aromatic palate, salty butter, all kinds of blossoms, sweet vanilla cream, and citrus. I do find this sweet, and I didn't even shiver, and I'm a shiverer when I drink certain alcohol. I am. So I actually didn't shiver at all drinking this. So for me, it's very clean. It is very palatable. I find it sweet. I find it fruity. Which is nice. It's nice. I don't have to fake it.
I like Jameson a little bit more because Jameson is a little bit more smooth.
You do like Jameson, yeah.
Yeah, this one has a little bit more of a bite to it. But Jameson, they do a little bit of charring. They char their barrels.
So you do, so there is the charring effect, which I thought was really
so you get a little bit more smoke, but not the peatiness that you would get from.
Apparently, the finish of this is supposed to be a malty finish with cardamom and ginger on the tail. So, do you get that? Did you feel it? I know.
Oh yeah, sure.
What do you guys? Do people like Bushmills or do you prefer Jameson? Do you like Irish whiskey? Oh, I'd love to hear your thoughts, you guys.
Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts too. I'm a huge Irish whiskey fan. Jameson's kind of like my go-to whiskey in terms of like when I don't want to think about what I want to order. I know I'll always like it. It's very easy to drink. Again, I like the profile of it. Mixes well if you put it into things. So I'm a huge fan of Jameson. Bushmills again has a little bit more of a kick.
Well, I think that's why it takes second fiddle Jameson, or maybe because people just know the name, like because Jameson is just a household name. Would you say that? Like it's a name that you know, right? It's a bar is going to have it. Like when I worked at a bar, we didn't have Bushmills. We had Jameson, so I think it's just the one that's a go-to. It's what people know. It's what they're gonna order. And like you said, like you obviously prefer it, but it's also like a big name. I think that's a big thing. Like I know people go to tour the Jameson, distillery.
The factory. Yeah. The distillery. My father, when he forget what he was in Ireland for. Long story short, it was for to film something. Some movie. One of the people in the crew, they were part of the Jameson family. So he got to go to like the estate.
That's really rad.
Dinner there, and it's really cool.
That's really, really cool. All right. Any other? Okay, so Fan says he's a rum lover, which I understand. I'm a gin lover, so I get it. But whiskey definitely has its place. But for whiskey, you're a Jameson, JD. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, and black. I don't know black velvet.
That's such an old person thing to drink. Not saying an old person, but I'm just saying.
We had JD at my bar. You appreciate whiskey lately, so what do you have one you gravitate towards?
You asking me or?
Daz said it. I was just curious.
Oh, Daz. By the way, I'm cleaning out my glass with water.
That's what I was about to do.
I'm preparing it for the next.
Because we're going to be moving on to Glenlivet pretty quickly. I try to space these out, but it's not that easy, especially with Ireland and Scotland being kind of hand in hand when you talk about these two. All right, I'm cleaned out. I feel warm and fuzzy. I don't have any discomfort in the belly, but I do have a slight burning sensation in the esophagus, and I do feel a bit of a nice sensation. So that's description.
Normal. That means it's working.
It's working.
I feel like I can live to 70 at this point in time.
You feel like you can live to 70. I'm glad. I'm glad. All right, you guys. So that was Bushmills. So it is the oldest, again, distillery still in existence today, and it's Ireland. So Ireland is actually where it really begins. But Scotland, of course, is going to be someone that really is along with them for most of so. So in 1644, so obviously it's about 40 years, 30 odd years later, whiskey is so popular, even in Scotland, that the Scottish Parliament is going to decide to tax it. So it's really on the rise, right? So Ireland and Scotland, people are, these private monks who are distilling and selling, and they're doing really well. So the Scottish Parliament, and at this time, just want you guys know, around this period, Scotland's gonna become part of the UK. So there's like that whole kind of blend. So now I'm gonna be talking about the UK with Scotland a little bit. So if Scottish Parliament decides to tax it, and when you tax things, especially if they're going to tax it really high, it's not going to go so well, right? And it caused a lot of distillers to start secretly making whiskey kind of at night and secretively, and so they are starting to make now moonshine,
awesome.
Right? So actually, in the 18th century, so a little bit later, so in the 1700s, at least half of whiskey production was illicit. So it was illegal. It was being done secretly. Half. That's insane. So the smuggling became standard practice within Scotland for like 150 years. So then finally, do I have anything here yet? Not yet. Okay, then finally in 1823, it's called the Excise Act was passed, which is going to sanction the distilling of whiskey to return for a license fee and a payment per gallon of proof spirit. So eventually, the Scottish government's going to be like, people are still drinking, they're still making, they actually were confiscating like 14,000 like barrels or something like that a year. Like they kept confiscating all this whiskey. So I'm pretty sure the Scottish government was having a good old time with all that confiscated whiskey. Scottish whiskey, by the way. So this is actually really fascinating. So the second the Scottish Parliament, decided to sanction this, the very first distillery in Scotland to go legit, I guess you could say, that's still around today, was Glenlivet. Which is really cool. So George Smith.
Awesome.
I have a picture of George Smith here. Let me get rid of my Henry here. George Smith, he was actually just a small-time farmer who was part of the illicit trade. So he was making it, but people loved it. They really liked it. And there was a really cool side story. Okay, so in August of 1822, you have King George the Sixth, I believe. He actually arrived in Scotland for a state visit and asked to try a drop of the infamous Glenlivet whiskey. So even though he's the king, I think he's the king of England. I'm a little fuzzy right now because I'm now drinking whiskey. This is gonna get bad. I love that he knows it's like you're not supposed to be doing it, distilling it, but yet he heard about it and he really wanted some. So even though it's like technically illegal, it didn't stop the king to go get this Glenlivet whiskey. So I thought it was really cute.
Sounds like many of our presidents in their
He's like,
drug habits.
I know you're not allowed, but I heard yours is really good.
Yeah, we're gonna let this one slide. So you're good.
Slide. Yeah. So George Smith, he is the one who starts it, and he actually, with the help of his landlord, so the land that he was the farm on, named Duke of Gordon, they're going to become the first legal distillery in parish of Glenlivet. So, which I thought was pretty cool. Oh. Isn't that crazy? Actually, cool. So all the other, because he was part of the illicit distillers, right? And so once he goes legit, this did not go well for the others. They were actually really upset about him. They told him they burned down his distillery, and so he actually would walk around with a pair of flintlock pistols all the time to protect himself from the illicit. So Glenlivet became super popular. So I found this really cool. So Glenlivet website actually has a really cool history, like with little tidbits everywhere. In 1852, Charles Dickens wrote to his friend urging him to try the rare old Glenlivet. He was recommending a single malt that went beyond his great expectations. So naturally, oh, thanks for the follow. Stay on target. I love it. We're trying to stay on target right now, aren't we?
But I don't know if we're going to be successful, but we're going to get close.
We're going to get close. Okay, so with that in mind, we will now be tasting the Glenlivet 12-year single malt. Especially if, like, you have Charles Dickens, you have King George, all these guys.
I think you'll end up liking this one a lot more than Bushmills. So it's funny you say this is 12 years.
Yeah,
okay.
This is a 12-year
so and this is a single malt. So this means it was one type of malt, right?
Yeah, no blend.
So, but when whiskey is made, unless it's from a single barrel, it's always made from multiple barrels.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see the years, so you'll see like 12-year, 18-year, 20-year, right? That is actually the youngest of the alcohols that go into that barrel. So that's one of the whiskey making rules is that, so you could have a 30-year-old whiskey, probably not, but you could in a barrel to make a taste. But if 12 years was the youngest thing that went in the barrel, it will be a 12-year-old. It'll always say 12 years on it. It's always the youngest, not the oldest.
The whiskey. Rules. So Glenlivet 12-year single malt. The color is vibrant. It's actually darker than Bushmills, as you can tell. It's a vibrant gold. I love it. Mine has texture. I should have not done a textured glass. These are my drinking glasses. So the cask for this one is European and American oak. The nose should be, it says fruity and summery. How do you describe summery? So here we go.
Okay, I'm breaking it up. So
oh,
it's very fruity.
Yeah.
I'm smelling like pineapple.
Oh, good for you.
And apricot.
Like the flavor. Summery, love the flavor. Yes. Agreed.
That's really all I smell.
Palate of this is supposed to be well balanced and fruity with strong pineapple notes. And I definitely get that tropical fruit flavor.
That's
fruit
exactly
essence.
what it smells like. Yeah.
It's crazy how I didn't know that about Glenlivet. Again, I don't drink whiskeys, so I don't really know.
You don't drink good whiskeys.
I just don't drink
and Glenlivet 12 is great. It's a great, easy drinking whiskey.
Oh, yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I didn't know about this idea of pineapple. Like, that I would never have known in a million. Like, that I would have been like, oh, unless, of course, drinking it. But, like, going, oh, Glenlivet, yeah. I heard that has pineapple notes.
I mean, this one definitely, the 12-year definitely tastes like buttery and, like...
Exactly. It's supposed to be, it's long, creamy, and smooth.
Vanilla.
Flavor.
Like, you taste like vanilla in it.
So this whiskey has been called a lot of things in its time: smooth, fruity, complex, sophisticated, entertaining, classic. The original malt whiskey almanac says, a first-class malt, one of the most popular malts in the world, and deservedly so. Representing the Glenlivet signature style, the classic malt is first matured in traditional oak before spending time in American oak casks. Like you said, with impart notes of vanilla and give the whiskey its distinctive smoothness. So they use a mineral-rich water. So of course, usually use spring water. That comes from it's called the Josie's Well, and that's where they get their water. So that does matter, right? Helps form the flavors during mashing and fermentation, whilst the specific height and width of the copper stills add a delicate yet complex character. That's from their website.
I taste like spiciness, honestly. Like, I can feel like that on my tongue.
Well, that's like what happens, I think, with whiskey, I thought. Like, the way it is during that time, like, it becomes a spicy. I actually have a whole description. There's a bunch of different varietals, right? And I have descriptions for all of them if we get to it at the very end. That tells you what's different.
If we survive. I'm already feeling it. I'm not going to lie.
Don't have to drink all of it, John. You could have a spill cup if you need to. Oh, God, he went for it, you guys. He went for it. So thank you, George Smith and Duke of Gordon for helping get Glenlivet's started. And thank you, everyone, for drinking it and keeping it around all these years.
Agreed. Yeah, I know. It tastes like you're drinking summer.
That man loves a summery cup. He does. No, it's great. I'm gonna pour it into my... Okay?
Yeah, it's probably smart.
I have
I'm gonna start
to.
slurring. It's gonna be fun.
I will start slurring. Also, what's beautiful is that will just become a blended whiskey. That's how that works, you guys.
A really crazy blend, but
A really crazy blend, but that's all that's gonna be.
Yeah, a crazy blend. That's what I heard you say. It's gonna be a very crazy blend.
All right. So, okay. Now let's talk about Aeneas coffee.
Who?
Aeneas. Oh my god, you guys. I'm so upset about this. Where's my George Smith? There he is. Okay. Crazy blend.
A crazy blend.
Crazy blend. Did I say that or did John say that?
You said it, but it's okay. I'll take ownership of it.
That's
I totally
all right
said
for
it.
me. I am dyslexic. Okay, so then we both did it. Called Aeneas coffee.
Oh, Irish Aeneas coffee.
Coffee, Coffey, invented a continuous still that revolutionized whiskey making. Ireland is going to shun him for this invention.
Shun the guy.
Trying to protect the purity of their whiskey. But Scotland takes that invention and they go bonkers with it. They're like, we like it. We will use it. We will do it. So this is right here is Aeneas coffee, or I might be saying it wrong, but that's how it looks phonetically, you guys. I apologize.
Well, continuous still, and they're like, you can't have it.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what that means. I think ultimately, because like you think about the way how the stills work. What's a continuous? Is it like
multiple tubes?
It would have to keep
one,
going,
and then it keeps going. Like it comes down here, boils through, cools down, sets to the next one.
Continuous still. This is what's beautiful about having this in front of us. How does the continuous still work? Continuous stills,
the water.
Yeah, are charged with preheated feed liquor at some point in the column. Heat, usually in the form of steam, is supplied to the base of the column. Stripped, approximately alcohol-free liquid is drawn off at the base, while alcoholic spirits are condensed after migrating to the top of the column. So it's like this kind of like going this.
It's like a way faster way to make liquor. This is genius.
But it wasn't pure. It wasn't the pure original way, and the Irish shunned it. But the Scottish were like, we love it, we'll take it. And so who did that is a man named Andrew Usher. So Andrew Usher, sometimes called the father of Scottish whiskey, is credited with the first blended whiskey in 1850. Usher mixed traditional pot still whiskey with that of the new batch produced in a coffee still. His company became the first to produce and mass marketed a bottle blended Scotch and even became popular import in the US. Isn't that cool? So I wanted to do an honorable mention. So this is Andrew Usher, known as the godfather of whiskey. Basically, he came up with the idea of blended whiskey. But someone else that is really famous that also did this, and I don't have a picture of him because I apologize, you guys. But an honorable mention in the blending category is John Walker. So, does that ring a bell? So John Walker was a small manufacturer from Kilmarnock. I think that's how you say that.
Did his friends call him Johnny?
So how this went down. So Walker was actually a grocer. He owned a grocery store. He stocked lines of single malts. But I think he got bored. I think the story goes he got bored with them. So he didn't like the flavor of just a single malt. So he would start blending them together to give a consistent, better taste. That's what they said. I don't know what that fully means. And then in 1867, his son, Alexander, launched Johnny Walker. First commercial blend called Old Highland Whiskey. He blended whiskey, Johnny Walker. The blended Johnny Walkers.
They grinded Johnny Walker up and put him in the whiskey?
Yeah, that's what they did.
That got dark real quick.
It got dark real fast. So, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Well, that was kind of interesting. So even though Johnny Walker's not the first, it's still around that time, and they've been around since 1867, which I didn't know Johnny Walker was that old. And then I almost got us a Johnny Walker to taste, and I was like, 5 might be too many. So
5 would have been a lot.
5 would have been a lot. So okay, so that's when blended whiskeys came about. So this is kind of, I'm transitioning now to why whiskey. So it's really popular in Scotland, right, in Ireland, but how does it become extremely popular more worldwide, right? So something apocalyptic happened in France. The severe blight, so this kind of, I think it was a fungus or something like that, basically annihilated most of the French vineyards in around the mid-19th century, bringing the wine industry to its knees, which also meant brandy. So brandy and wine, it had to halt. They actually had all these barrels, these sherry barrels that they started like doing that with whiskey. It's just kind of cool. So bringing the industry to its knees, but one man's loss is another one's gain. Since wine, brandy, and cognac, because cognac, brandy, were awfully scarce, people turned to Scottish potion, right? Scottish whiskey, and that's why it became a worldwide sensation. All because of this crazy thing that annihilated most of the French vineyards, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, what are we gonna drink? And I guess we're gonna drink Scottish whiskey.
That's just like how working from home became a worldwide sensation after the pandemic. You know, sometimes you need some crazy things to happen,
and then it just changes history. That's as it goes. So with that in mind, I guess it's time to move on to America. So, not too
Happy 4th of July, everyone.
I know. Welcome over our 4th of July weekend. We're July the 2nd. 4th of July is on Sunday. So let's talk about the American whiskey. All right, so whiskey came over with European immigrants, and production began during the 13 colonies. So in New England mainly. Whiskey at first was the most uncommon beverage at first, with rum, so rum, gin and brandy being the drink of choices. However, this is going to change dramatically after the Revolutionary War. And that has become why would you think that after the Revolutionary War that whiskey would then become so popular when it wasn't prior?
Because they weren't taxing it? I don't know.
No, okay, so think about it. So where is rum from?
Caribbean.
The Caribbean? Where is like things like gin and brandy from?
Honestly, Europe, so like France-ish area. Yep.
So yeah, so if you think about this, so whiskey's rise as an American liquor due in part to the fact that they didn't have to be imported. So you can make, unlike rum, like you said, which is made from sugarcane and molasses, which is from the Caribbean. So the British-controlled islands, you know, the Caribbeans, that would bring it into New England. Whiskey could be distilled in the country from domestically sourced raw ingredients. So that's why it became so popular.
Makes perfect sense, honestly.
Isn't that crazy? So whiskey becomes a popular and profitable drink. More than that, a crucial commodity in the economy of the United States, because they're going to need it, right? Especially after breaking ties with Great Britain, who had its hands, obviously, in in so many things, tea and rum and tobacco, you name it, right? So, so corn in particular was plentiful in America and made the whiskey unique. So they used things like corn and rye. However, at the time, did you know that they had to do small batches because corn scorches really easily? So I didn't know that. So I feel like you don't see full corn whiskey as much as you maybe at one point did. I did find some, like especially like with Mexico and stuff like that. Mexican whiskey is made with corn, it seems like. But apparently you get to do it in small batches because it scorches, and when you do it in large stills, it would scorch. So they started mixing it with rye and wheat so it wouldn't burn. So I thought that was crazy cool. So we are moving on to our next whiskey then, when we're talking about rye and corn. So we are going to be now tasting, so before we switch gears fully, we will now taste our rye whiskey of the night. We have Knob Creek straight rye whiskey. That's a hard one for me. Can
Small batch, patiently aged.
What is that? Stupid marketing terms, I swear. Patiently aged?
So actually, it's kind of interesting. So this is 100 proof, by the way, which means it's 50% ABV, so alcohol content. I like that it has the wick.
Alcohol by volume. That's what ABV means.
Alcohol by volume. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. Most people don't know what ABV means.
Thank you for backing me up there. So if you guys didn't know, Knob Creek is one of four Jim Beam small batch bourbon brands targeted for high-end liquor markets.
Oh, so, and I don't know if they were included in Jim Beam lost like a lot of one of their factories burned down.
Holy shit! Did it really?
Yeah, or maybe it was 2 years ago now. I forget. But yeah, so they lost a lot of Jim Beam whiskey.
That blows.
But it's a really nice, cheap, easy drinking whiskey. It's not bad.
It is. I actually used to drink Jim Beam and ginger when I was younger. That was my go-to. Now I'm a gin and tonic girl. But I used to like the mixing Jim Beam. I don't know if I could drink it straight. but what's crazy cool, so Jim Beam, so obviously I don't have just Jim Beam, but I have this, you know, what's fun about Jim Beam, it's actually been around for a very long time. So Jim Beam's been around since 1795. It was interrupted by Prohibition for a bit. But 7 generations of the Beam family have been involved in whiskey production for the company that produces this brand. So the brand name became Jim Beam in 1943, but the family's been doing the whiskey since 1795, which is a long... So I thought this was really appropriate to do this now, because we're kind of in this period.
Embedded into our American history, just so you know.
So... in honor, so they named it Jim Beam in honor of James B. Beam, who built the business after Prohibition ended. So the color is of gold to light amber, so it's a little bit darker than Glenlivet. So the taste is supposed to be a bold rye spiciness with undertones of. Let's see if you catch it. Oh, I smell it. Maybe because I smell it because I know it. Maybe I should have blinded I can't blind test myself too much. What are you getting? That's nice.
It's very herby. I'm tasting ginger and reminds me of mint.
Really? Oh. Well, it has undertones of... Do you want me to tell you yet, or you want me to wait?
Just wait.
I'm waiting. I don't want to rush you. I never want to rush you.
It's spicy. And anytime you drink it like a higher proof, it hits. I don't know.
It's 100 proof.
Yeah. Tell me.
Isn't that crazy? It even says it on the bottle right there. Oop.
Yeah, I see.
It's a bit much. Okay, so it's supposed to have undertones of vanilla and oak.
Yeah.
I definitely get the vanilla. I find oak, okay, because I just went wine tasting last weekend. Yes, last weekend. And so, of course, a lot of things are done in French oak when it comes to wine. You could really taste that oakiness, but then all of a sudden you taste a wine that is done in steel, and you could really taste the crispness of a wine when it's done in a steel barrel or casket from when it is in a French oak, right? It's crazy how you can really tell the difference between them. So... still trying to get the whole, it's a French oak, and obviously I don't know what this one specifically is, but...
what's the difference between a French oak and an American oak?
I would think it's just the type of wood, so it would have different notes in it, you know.
Sure, but when have you ever smelled a French oak?
I haven't.
Exactly.
But I got the idea, I could definitely tell, when a wine was done in an oak barrel, and then when it wasn't done in an oak barrel.
Yeah, you can taste that oak, you know. I don't think a lot of people realize how much they know that oaky flavor.
The only thing about this one is that when I go in to sip it, it burns my eyes.
This
potent.
one has heat.
It's
anything anything that has high.
I'm my eyebrows are gonna burn off. I mean my eyelashes. All right, let me get a rinse here.
You know what I don't know? What is the alcohol content where it will light on fire? For example, I know 151 will light on fire, but how much alcohol does it need to be to light on fire?
I thought it was all pretty combustible.
Google knows. No. For example, anything that's
because
proof
you can light shots on fire. So I would think. I don't know. Does anybody know? Chat? Or are we just gonna go to Google?
Yeah, chat. Do you know? I'm looking it up.
Look at this. There's water.
It does say anything that is 80 proof, which is basically all alcohols.
Yeah.
Will light on fire. But we're gonna have to test this out, chat.
You're gonna light something on fire?
Yeah, come on. Keep talking.
But you're gonna miss the history.
I'm listening.
All right, guys. So whiskey, of course. So now it's in Americas. It is becoming very popular because they can make it domestically. It's at home. They don't have to import it, and because of that, whiskey is gonna start generating a lot of income. And when that happens, remember they just were at war with Great Britain. during the American Revolution. So when there you have this new nation, and it's actually financially struggling because they've been cut off, right? Because Great Britain really supported them. So under the weight of this financial burden, the Revolutionary War debt, Treasurer Secretary Alexander Hamilton, he's so popular now, he's actually going to propose a tax on domestic liquor as a means to pay off the Revolutionary War debt, which is fascinating. So of course, to small farmers and distillers on the frontier in Western Pennsylvania, whiskey was a means of financial survival, and they weren't about to share their hard-earned money with the federal government, like, at all.
Alexander Hamilton is so hot right now. It's
He's
crazy.
so hot right now. So what we're going to get out of this, if you guys remember from your U.S. history class, the farmers and distillers in Western Pennsylvania are going to refuse to pay. And they're actually going to start tarring and feathering tax collectors and seizing their records at gunpoint in what will become known as the Whiskey Rebellion in 1794.
Yes.
Damn the tax man. Well, it's so fascinating because you think about when the British were taxing the Americans, they started tarring and feathering the British soldiers and the tax collectors. Oh, what do you got there?
I'm seeing if 100 proof will light on fire.
Oh, oh God, that feels like you should have filled that up higher.
Nope. We're good. I don't know. Maybe.
You should put it in a shot glass.
Putting in a shot glass.
That's the only way to do that. Don't
Keep talking. Keep talking. We're good.
hurt yourself. Don't try this at home, y'all, unless you're in a very safe environment.
I'm in a safe environment.
And you're
I have
a
a fire
full-on
extinguisher by
adult.
me. I'm a full adult.
No,
I don't
fill
see
it
any
up.
fire.
Fill it up.
Okay, keep talking.
Fill
gonna
that
fill
thing
it
up. There's too much, like, the volume. I think that matters. I don't know.
Okay, it's
So-
filled. It's filled. It's filled.
Let's see it. Okay. It's on fire! There it
Oh,
is!
I saw like a little flame for a
It's
second.
on fire.
Oh yeah, I see
It's on
the
fire.
flame. I see the flame.
What? You can blow it out and chug
Hey.
it now. Don't do it. Don't
I don't
do
want to
it.
light myself on fire.
No, don't do
Okay,
it.
we're good. We're good. We're good.
Don't do it. Don't pour it on your arm. We're good.
It's hot.
It's hot.
Oh, it's tasty.
Does it give it like
So,
a nice
yeah.
smoky flavor? Because that's okay. Of course we didn't try Johnny Walker, but Johnny Walker to me is so smoky. Every time I ever tried Johnny Walker, it's such a smoky flavor, and I'm not into that. Oh, how you doing there, my friend?
It has heat. I'm not talking about the fire that just happened. It's just, yeah. I should have tried smiting it, Daz. I'll get drunk
before D&D sometime. Oh yeah.
Geez. All right. Okay. Continue on.
No, I just found this very
apologize for-
ironic, right?
I thought chat was gonna enjoy me lighting something on
ironic.
fire.
I thought that was fun. I thank you for doing that for us. Thank you, Angelus. Always the much. Eldritch Blast.
It's a
I don't know.
powerful
Is that,
move.
I was gonna say, is that
I've
your
only
D&D
used it,
stuff?
I've only used it like twice during D&D. Don't you worry about it.
So that was really interesting. So here you have just like just a few, a couple, like 30, 40 years earlier, they were tarring and feathering the British soldiers. And now you have, now they're known as Americans because they're no longer colonists after the American Revolution. They are now tarring and feathering their own tax collectors. Because honestly, you have to, like, here they are, as a federal government, they're in debt. So they're like, this is really popular drink, let's tax it. The farmers are like, no, this is not good. We're going to fight you about this. So meanwhile, oh, by the way, I have a really fun side note before I continue. I thought this was really fascinating. Before all this went down, during the Revolutionary War, George Washington actually operated a large distillery called Mount Vernon. You guys actually can go visit it today, which is really cool.
It's in Virginia. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I recommend it, but he used whiskey as currency for very much of the American Revolution, which I thought was cool. So George Washington, who's president at this time now, right? He wasn't then, but now he's the president. He, it's kind of interesting that he actually is going to organize a federal militia of nearly 13,000 men.
Militia.
Militia. I said milita. I'm drinking.
We're having good stuff.
Militia. Thank you, John. And march to Pennsylvania and arrest 150 whiskey rebels. I know it's milita now, Daz. Don't need to rub it in. My bad. That's what's gonna happen when I'm teaching. I'm gonna say militia, and people are like, milita, Miss Piva.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they're gonna say. think your ninth graders will be very drunk at the time.
Eighth graders. So I thought that was really Matilda. Yes, it's Matilda. So 13,000 Matildas are going to march to Pennsylvania and arrest 150 whiskey rebels. They will eventually be pardoned. I think only 2 were really trialed, but they will eventually be pardoned by the federal, because the federal government, honestly, they realized they went too far, right? I think they did some
They did go too far.
They did some self-reflection about, whoa, this just happened and we went to war over it, right? So let's pardon them.
Calm down.
And they'll be like, don't do it again. Okay, so despite this, whiskey was extremely popular. At the time when the nation, so it still was popular after this, even though it left a bad taste in someone's mouth. At the time when the nation lacked clean drinking water, actually whiskey would be provided as a stationary substitute. In 1802, so a little bit later, President Thomas Jefferson eliminated the unpopular tax on whiskey, which gave the whiskey industry a renewed boost. Whiskey became an integral part of daily American life.
Ooh, yeah.
America. So now I want to do an honorable mention. This is really, really cool. I didn't know this. No, this is really cool. You're going to like this, you guys. I don't know if you know this yet. So there is a gentleman named Nathan Nearest Green. So during the mid-1800s, he was a slave working on Dan Call's farm in Tennessee. Green, oh, let me show you a picture of Green. Let me get rid of the rebellion. We're done with the whiskey rebellion. This is the picture I found. I think this is him.
Oh, this is straight thug.
I think this is him.
That guy looks like a badass.
I don't know. His name was attached to the photo. I think this is right. Okay, so
that could also be Morgan Freeman from The Shawshank Redemption. I can't tell, but no, continue on.
Green built a reputation for himself as a talented distiller. Specializing in filtration methods for his whiskey, he would use sugar maple charcoal to give the spirit a smooth finish. The process itself may have been brought to the U.S. by West Africans who used charcoal to purify their water. But nowadays, it's better known as the Lincoln County process, a defining trait that separates the Tennessee style of whiskey from bourbon, which is fascinating. So during the 1850s, Green began mentoring a young white boy who had been hired at the farm, teaching him the secrets of his whiskey distilling methods. While the boy's legal name was Jasper Newton, he would later become known to the world as Jack Daniels. Green is considered the godfather of the Tennessee whiskey making process, and he was recognized in 2016 by the company as the first master distiller after initially crediting Dan Call for this, which is bullshit.
That's awesome.
So Dan,
respect to this guy over here.
Yeah, so actually Jack Daniels opened in 1866, but they used Nathan Green's processing method.
So
which
much
is
like white
so
people.
cool.
Just stealing black people's things.
I know. So I thought it was really important to, even though we're not drinking Jack Daniels, but obviously Jack Daniels is something that isn't great in American culture, but I wanted to give this shout out. I think that was really important. So, so I hope you guys learned something new. I didn't know that. I didn't really know anything about Jack Daniels, to be honest with you. I never gone and taken a tour or anything. So, actually never really hung out in Tennessee or even Kentucky. Gotta go do that stuff. So that was pretty cool. So whiskey, as you guys can tell, has been pretty resilient, right? So you've had all these moments in Scotland and and all these different places that have been trying to push it down and make it illegal, but it's been thriving no matter what, and that's going to be the same in America. So it's going to survive the temperance movement. It's going to survive even prohibition. When others really suffered. And it couldn't take it down, as I would say. So during the Prohibition era from 1920s to about 1930s, the federal government actually made an exception for whiskey prescribed by a doctor and sold through licensed pharmacies. This is the time, which is super cool. This is a really fun one. I'm gonna get all giddy about it. During this time, Walgreens, the pharmacy chain, grew from 20 retail stores to 400. During Prohibition, because they provided whiskey as medicine again.
Yeah, that's amazing.
However, because you needed a doctor's prescription, whiskey, of course, was still being smuggled, and it was still being, especially because the mob, right? The rise of the mob during the Prohibition era. So mobsters like Lucky Luciano and Vito Genovese smuggled a ton of it. And this is such a fun story. I didn't know this. So you guys know Chivas, right? So you can drink Chivas today. It's still around. It's very popular. So the Chivas brothers worked 24/7 and dropped waterproof crates of Scotch outside the U.S. territory. And that's where the mobsters would get it and collect it. They saw it as a humanitarian aid because it was safer to drink Scotch than moonshine. Because if you guys know, during Prohibition era, you're going to get moonshine and bathtub gin, right? So these are not being monitored. They're not being... So if you drink too much moonshine, you can go blind. So this was really... Fun fact, the country in Lynchburg, Tennessee, where JD is still, is a dry county. That is a fun fact.
Yeah, it is a fun fact. More fun facts about Lynchburg. It's actually named after one of two brothers of the last name Lynch. One brother was a lawyer who helped keep away people, black people who were being prosecuted. He was a public defender, and the other brother was an asshole.
How do you know this about him?
Because it was named Lynchburg after the brother who was the defendant.
Yeah.
Helping defend people from getting lynched.
No way. Is that a lie?
Yeah.
You lying? Is that
not
real?
a lie at all? It's actually So that's and that's kind of it's actually where the term lynching comes from. It comes from the same Lynch family.
Curb.
Yeah, go look it up.
Thank
the only
you,
reason
Darren.
I know this is because one of my friends was.
Oh yes, it is.
It has nothing
Yes,
to do
it
with
is
getting
Target.
lynched. Technically, it's all after this person. Yeah.
But Lynchburg, but it
driving through Lynchburg.
that's crazy. Thank you for that tidbit. There's so much like that, right? Like where the origins of words are very fascinating, even if it's obviously a dark history. But at least this is being named of someone who was defending, right?
Yeah. The other brother was a jerk and he the property owner and just owned a bunch of property.
I like how the brother. So, but that's crazy at Lynchburg, Tennessee, though, where JD is still. Oh, the dogs are going crazy. All you guys can hear them. Someone's just probably walking across the front, you know.
Oh my God, it is 9:18. Let's keep
we're
going.
Almost there. We're going to do Bulleit now.
Yeah.
I told you we're going to go long today. This is going to be a little bit long because we're going to be tasting.
Why is Bulleit spelled incorrectly?
No, okay, we're not there yet. Give me a second. So,
I'm giving you a second.
In American Midwest, bourbon whiskey, distilled primarily from corn and aged in oaks barrels for at least 4 years. Oh my God. Sorry, guys. By 1964, so way later, bourbon really hit the big time. That's when it really starts to hit its stride. As American Congress declared bourbon whiskey the country's official distilled spirit. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Oh.
They also laid out the specific regulations that are to be met in order to label whiskey as a bourbon. I have those, but I thought we should do our bourbon. So
has to be in Kentucky.
So, yes. If I tell him to you now. Holy shit.
Yeah, tell me.
Okay, sorry, guys. So, where's my bourbon? So, okay, 5 rules to make it a bourbon. So, it must be made in the U.S.
Okay.
Aging must take place in new charred oak barrels. The mash must be at least 51% corn. The whiskey cannot enter the barrel at a higher than 120 proof. And nothing can be added but water and only to lessen the proof when necessary. Those are the only 5 rules for bourbon.
Solid rules.
I know. That was pretty cool.
I'm surprised it had nothing to do with Kentucky.
Sorry, guys. Our dog is going insane outside right now for no
I
reason.
spilled some bourbon in my eye. Everything's fine. Let's continue on.
All right. So I decided to pick Bulleit bourbon for our bourbon because, one, I like it.
So yummy.
I like Bulleit. It's actually pretty popular. I used to, obviously not right now, I used to bartend events, and when they would say, what whiskey should I get? I was like, you should get Bulleit. And 2, the distillery opened the year I was born, in 1987. So by Thomas E. Bulleit. Bulleit, so it's named after the gentleman. So Bulleit was inspired.
The gentleman, got it.
So Bulleit's actually really cool. So it was inspired by his great-great-grandfather, who made high rye whiskey between 1830 and 1860. So although it's a fairly new, right? But the recipe is old. So medium and amber color, so not as dark, I feel like, but still on the darker side. Than our last ones. It's supposed to be with gentle spiciness and a sweet oak aromas. Oh my God, I've never heard our dog bark so much.
Oh, it's so yummy. It's like You got like that maple and that like nutmeggy flavor. It's yummy.
Okay, so it's supposed to be a mild palate, is smooth with tones of maple, oak, and nutmeg. I tried to pour the whole bottle into here right now.
I'm drinking too much, so just continue on. You're doing great.
The finish is a long, dry, and satiny with a light toffee flavor. Wish I get that.
I can taste that toffee. I believe that.
That's crazy. I thought that was really nice. And that's actually what I have for our history portion of
Beautiful.
whiskey. I do have, if you guys want to hear it really quickly, obviously what's the differences? Because there's Canadian whiskey, there's Japanese whiskey, there is, obviously what's the difference between a single malt whiskey, an Irish whiskey, a Scotch whiskey? I mean, there's so many fun things here. So just some things, I guess, really quickly.
Canadian whiskey is hold on.
Yeah. I love Bulleit. Who's kidding? Who? Let's drink it.
Is
It's malty and delicious. I get all the sweetness with Bulleit.
something that makes it so smooth. They
With Canadian?
Yeah.
So Canadian is famous for blended whiskeys that are among the smoothest in the world. Rye is a favorite grain of them. Though the whiskeys that go into the blends are made from a variety of grains, it is not uncommon for Canadian whiskey to use 20 or more ingredients, mostly whiskey, but also like sherry in a blend. I thought that was crazy. This is a fun little side note, by the way, fun fact. In 1890, under the pressure by domestic whiskey producers, so those within America, a law was passed in the U.S. requiring the name of the country of the production to be marked on the bottle of the label. So before it wasn't. And when that happened, it actually it turned out that the Made in Canada label actually increased the sales of Canadian whiskey, which competed effectively with New England's local product. So I like how in 1890 Americans were like, we need to say where it's from, and then all of a sudden it competed with the Canadian whiskey.
Canadian whiskey, they filter it so in the production too. So this is why it's more smooth.
They're known as the smoothest in the world.
Yeah.
I like Japanese whiskey a lot.
Me too. I love Japanese.
Learned how to make whiskey from Scotland, so the techniques and characteristics are very similar. It tends to focus on single malts with peaty flavors. So if you want to tell everyone what peat is, because you told me the other day.
So peat is basically it's a bogwood. It's found in lakes, and it is used specifically to bring the smokiness into whiskeys or scotches.
Really cool.
Technically scotches as well.
Scotches, yeah.
From Scotland.
So it tends to focus on single malts with peaty flavors, and they're considered to be very fine whiskeys. And they are. They really are. Yeah, I think Tennessee whiskey, most of the same stipulations for bourbon apply to Tennessee whiskey, like we stated, but it must be made within the state. So bourbon can be made anywhere in the U.S., but Tennessee whiskey has to be made within Tennessee. It goes through charcoal filtering, like we talked about, called the Lincoln County process, which actually mellows the whiskey while giving it a slight burnt wood flavor.
From Tennessee?
I'm from Missouri.
Oh, because you're the only 10 I see. That is a horrible pickup line that no boy should ever use to anyone in a bar. Come up with something different.
Where did you learn that one? That's a good one. You guys, you got to write that down. That's a good one. That's my favorite I've ever heard.
It's so horrible.
No, I love it so much.
So bad.
I love it so much.
It's the alcohol talking. So
again, Scotch whiskey includes single malts made from malted barley and blended whiskey that includes grain whiskey. The signature taste is a smokiness that is imparted by drying the malt over a peat-fueled fire. Different regions of Scotland produce single malts with individual characteristics. My cousin had that on a t-shirt.
Right.
I love it. It was on a t-shirt. Single malt.
So
these are just a couple of cool things. The single malt, the term is used to distinguish a whiskey that's produced at a single distillery using a single malt grain, like you said earlier. You can find single malts in Scotch, Irish, and Japanese whiskey, and whiskeys from other countries. I think that's crazy cool. Oh, by the way, blended whiskey. This is actually really fascinating. The term refers to any whiskey that's blended on various whiskeys that are already aged.
Yep.
So typically includes whiskey distilled from different types of grains, creating a whiskey with a lighter flavor. However, blended whiskey is close to, I think it needs to be like 50 or 51% malt, and then the rest of it can be different things, different types of grain. So after blending, the whiskey is transferred to large barrels for a period of 6 to 12 months to allow the ingredients to blend. When a number of years of aging is reduced on the bottle, the age of the youngest whiskey is marked. So that was pretty cool. I thought that was some pretty cool stuff. Of course, there's other whiskeys. I don't know much about them. There's so much we could talk about. This was a very broad topic, and I do this all the time.
It was great, and it's the most I've ever drinking at a drink history repeat. So,
That's true.
A history drink repeat. Oh my god. So this was fun.
Look at that.
I'm curious.
I got one more about moonshine.
Yeah.
So moonshine, also called white dog. Never heard that before.
Also white lightning.
White lightning I've heard, but not white dog. I thought this is, or in Ireland. Oh my gosh, Orion Wolf.
Oh,
he's so sweet. Jay.
Now we're wrapping up, but I'm so what is nice.
I know. We're gonna be getting off here in a second. In Ireland, it's called Poochin. So I think I've heard that before actually. So moonshine, white dog, white lightning, and Poochin. I feel like I've heard that in Ireland. Moonshine is unaged whiskey. Ugh. Essentially, it's raw whiskey. That's why it's clear. Straight out of the still. It could maybe be diluted. Without the mellowness, color, or extra flavors imparted by wood barrels. It was once regulated to backwoods still and illegally made homemade liquor, but there's a growing legal market for it today. And it's true. I actually have a very dear friend of mine who made moonshine. And at a party, people were drinking it. And I've never seen so many men drool. Just drool. They were so drunk from drinking moonshine, they were just drooling. And I was like, this is terrible. This is terrible. So that shit
sounds like some good moonshine.
Yeah.
Well, this has been an amazing night.
Thank you.
Thank you so much again for sharing this amazing information with me.
No, I'm glad. I knew I was going to go over today. There was just so much we were tasting, and it was going to take even more time. And so I got through my 7 pages of notes pretty nicely. I feel like
you did great.
Pretty good. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for Stay on Target for following and hanging out with us. I love it. I love what Curbstop said. He said, oh geez, I had moonshine from a guy named Okie Bob once. Who calls himself
Bob is an amazing
Okie
name.
Bob? So you guys, thank you again so much for tuning in. I am Piva Colada, aka Janelle. This is Angela's 000 with John. We do History Drink Repeats. Seems like we've been doing them once a month. We used to do them every 2 weeks. So we'll try to pull another one in before, life becomes real busy again, but we'll come up with a new topic, and we'll definitely be back within the next couple of weeks, most likely. We love doing these. These are so much fun for us. I cram a lot of information in my brain, and John shares his wonderful, vast knowledge with us because he's just full of trivia all the time. So, you guys, thank you again. I will be back on Monday. I should be playing the second Mass Effect game, which I'm super, super jazzed about. So I hope you can see you guys there. Thank you again for tuning in and hanging out with us. We're going to be rating my dear friend Epic, Yoso Epic.
If you have a topic that you want Piva to cover, go pop in the suggestion in Piva's Discord, and maybe she'll pick it.
I always love anything you guys want to learn about or for me to talk about. I'm all about learning something new. Obviously there's things that I do know. I have my specialties in, and then things I don't know. So please let me know in Discord. You can always give me suggestions. I love it. People give me game suggestions, and I do that all the time. So, Orion, thank you so much again for rating us with your party. Thank you. I really, really appreciate you. So, yeah, GG later, Gators. All right, you guys, let's go hang out with USA Epic.